Ghana's state-owned gold aggregator, Goldbod, is facing scrutiny over a lack of financial transparency. Policy analyst Bright Simons has accused the company of failing to disclose critical details in its latest quarterly report. Simons stated the report omits essential information, including the total value of gold purchased with Bank of Ghana funds, the resale price of that gold, and the identities of its trading partners. He argues these are the true performance indicators for a national monopoly, not the assay fees it highlights. This opacity makes it difficult to assess whether the state is receiving fair value from its gold transactions. Simons is calling for accountability from Goldbod CEO, Sammy Gyamfi. The company has yet to publicly respond to these concerns. A raging fire has destroyed several shops at Odomase MTN Pulis in the Sunyani West municipality of the Bono region, leaving traders with significant losses. The blaze, which broke out around 4:50 p.m. on Wednesday, consumed about 4 commercial structures, including an electrical appliances shop, a clothing store, a container shop, and nearby stalls. Preliminary assessments indicate that goods worth thousands of Ghana cedis were lost. Firefighters from the Ghana National Fire Service responded promptly to the emergency, containing the fire and preventing it from spreading to neighboring buildings. The cause of the fire remains unknown, though an investigation is expected to commence soon. Some eyewitnesses speculate that the incident may have been triggered by gas-related issues, but no official confirmation has been provided. Authorities are urging residents and business operators to exercise caution with electrical connections, gas cylinders, and other flammable materials, particularly during the dry season, which is typically associated with a higher risk of fires. A swift intervention by the Bono regional minister has stopped an attempted illegal takeover of government land belonging to the Center for National Culture, CNC, in Sunyani. The acting executive director of the National Commission on Culture, NCC, Mr. Wakefield Akwaku, was alerted after the Bono regional director reported that a group of individuals, including some traditional authorities allegedly working with Chinese nationals, attempted to access the land to begin construction of a proposed China Mall. The regional minister emphasized that the remaining 40 acres of the original cultural land, acquired during Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's era, remain the lawful property of the government of Ghana and will not be released to any private entity. The NCC confirmed it will formally brief the Minister for Tourism, Arts and Culture and continue collaborating with regional authorities to protect cultural lands and other state assets from unauthorized encroachment. Retired Siopi Kofi Bokai, head of security operations at the presidency, alongside the family of the late Nana Konadu Aguiman Rawlings, conducted an inspection of the funeral preparations at Independence Square. The team visited the facility on Thursday, November 27th, ahead of Friday, November 28th, a day scheduled for the state funeral. The seating arrangements have been designed to accommodate the family, presidency officials, traditional councils, MPs, dignitaries, and other guests. Following the review at the square, they visited the cemetery to oversee final arrangements ahead of tomorrow's funeral. Nigeria has strongly condemned the military coup in Guinea-Bissau and described the takeover as an unacceptable and unconstitutional change of government. The federal government called for an immediate return to constitutional order and the restoration of democratic governance in the West African country. In a statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja, Nigeria said the coup undermines regional stability and violates the core principles of democracy and the rule of law. The government stressed that power should only be attained and exercised through constitutional means and the will of the people. Nigeria reaffirmed its support for the efforts of ECOWAS and the African Union to address the crisis. It urged the military authorities in Guinea-Bissau to respect human rights, protect civilians, and engage in dialogue that will lead to a peaceful restoration of democratic institutions. The statement also called on all parties in Guinea-Bissau to remain calm and avoid actions that could worsen tensions or lead to violence. Nigeria pledged to work with regional and international partners to help safeguard stability and promote democratic norms in West Africa. President Bola Tinubu has declared a nationwide security emergency and endorsed the creation of state police to confront rising attacks and banditry. He announced the federal government would support state security outfits and called on the National Assembly to amend the constitution to allow it. As part of the emergency response, Tinubu ordered the recruitment of 50,000 new police personnel and directed the DSS to deploy trained forest guards to clear terrorists from vulnerable areas. He warned security operatives against collusion and urged pastoralists to end open grazing. In a related development, the Southern Governors Forum and Traditional Rulers Council renewed their call for state police. They agreed to establish a joint security fund, hold monthly coordination meetings, and invest in a shared intelligence sharing system for real-time threat response. United States President Donald Trump told Prime Minister Fumio Kishida not to provoke China over Taiwan during their recent talks in Washington. The report had suggested that Trump urged Japan to act cautiously on Taiwan so as not to increase tensions with Beijing. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi dismissed the account when asked about it in Tokyo. He said it was not true that Trump had given such a warning to Kishida. Hayashi stressed that the discussions between the two leaders were consistent with Japan's existing policy on China and Taiwan. The US and Japan have repeatedly said they want peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. Both governments have also agreed to deepen security cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region in response to China's growing military activities. Hayashi declined to reveal detailed remarks made during the summit, citing diplomatic practice. However, he underlined that Japan will continue to work closely with the United States while maintaining its own independent stance in dealing with China-related issues. Venezuela has banned Turkish Airlines and several other foreign carriers after they suspended flights to the country following a United States security alert. The US had warned its citizens against traveling to Venezuela and flagged possible risks to aircraft operating in its airspace. In response, some airlines halted services, citing the security advisory and concerns for passenger safety. The Venezuelan government reacted by suspending those airlines from operating in its territory, accusing them of bowing to pressure from Washington. Authorities in Caracas described the U.S. warning as politically motivated and said it was part of ongoing pressure on President Nicolas Maduro's government. They argued that Venezuela's airspace is safe and insisted that the decision by some airlines to stop flights was unjustified. Officials said airlines that maintain operations in the country will continue to receive full support, while those that left may face long-term restrictions. The move is expected to further limit international travel options for people flying in and out of Venezuela and could deepen the country's isolation. Russia has ordered the closure of Poland's consulate in the Siberian city of Irkutsk in a tit-for-tat response to a recent Polish move against a Russian mission. The Russian Foreign Ministry said the decision came after Warsaw withdrew consent for the Russian consulate in the eastern Polish city of Białystok. Moscow accused Poland of continuing what it called a hostile and destructive policy against Russia. The ministry said the closure of the Irkutsk consulate was a forced response and signaled that further unfriendly steps from Poland would draw similar reactions. Relations between Russia and Poland have sharply deteriorated since Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Poland is one of Kyiv's strongest supporters in the European Union and NATO, supplying weapons, hosting refugees, and pushing for tougher sanctions on Moscow. In recent years, both countries have expelled each other's diplomats, closed cultural institutions, and restricted consular operations. Russian authorities have repeatedly accused Poland of Russophobia, while Polish officials say they are responding to Russian aggression, disinformation, and security threats. The closure of the Irkutsk consulate further reduces Poland's diplomatic presence in Russia and is expected to affect consular services for Polish citizens in the region. Analysts say the move underlines how strained relations have become, with little sign of improvement as the war in Ukraine and broader tensions between Russia and the West continue. Chorus Bank International Togo has officially joined the shareholders of the West African Mortgage Refinancing Company, the CRRHUEMOA. With this move, the Chorus Group now has 5 subsidiaries represented within the regional institution: Benin, Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, and now Togo. This participation brings the group's overall stake to 3.5%, strengthening its influence within a system that now brings together 64 commercial banks across the UEMOA countries. For Chorus Bank Togo, the entry opens access to stronger refinancing options and greater capacity to offer long-term mortgage loans. The goal is straightforward: make housing more accessible, support real estate development, and push financial inclusion forward in the country. Founded in 2010, the CRRHUEMOA has become a major player in housing finance in the region. It refinances banks' mortgage loans by sourcing long-term capital, mainly from financial markets or international partners. Since its creation, it has raised more than 475 billion CFA francs and helped drive the construction of many homes across the UEMOA area. The Democratic Convention of African Peoples, one of Togo's oldest opposition parties, is stepping back into the political arena with a fully revamped strategy. After meeting on Wednesday, the party's leaders outlined a new direction centered on unity, method, and the preservation of the party's political identity. Following a period of retreat and internal restructuring, the CDPA says it is entering a new phase focused on modernizing its methods, strengthening its internal organization, and rebuilding its connection with citizens. The goal is simple: regain its place as a disciplined, credible, and influential opposition force. In a political landscape where alliances are often fragile, the party is now taking a selective approach. Its leaders stress that any coalition must be built on shared vision, written agreements, and strict follow-up to avoid improvised partnerships. The CDPA also intends to rebuild ties with civil society, unions, and grassroots movements, convinced that a more structured social front can better carry the country's democratic aspirations. This direction aligns with its historic role during the October 5, 1990 movement. As for leadership, Secretary General Bridget Ajamagba Johnson says the party is entering a decisive moment. The CDPA is rebuilding, renewing itself, and reconnecting with citizens, she explains. She adds that the party plans to lean on an increasingly engaged youth and a vibrant civil society. The University of Lomé is hosting a China-Africa dialogue focused on modernizing public policy and strengthening scientific cooperation. The event opened on Tuesday with the participation of China's ambassador, Min Wang, along with several experts and researchers from both countries. The discussions aim to deepen collaboration in key sectors such as agriculture and agro-processing, health, infrastructure, and education. The Togolese government plans to integrate the recommendations from this dialogue into its next National Development Plan, which will follow the 2020 to 2025 roadmap. Lomé and Beijing are also considering new applied research programs designed to address real needs on the ground, support national priorities, and encourage local innovation.